Hey, welcome to Guitar Knobs, the guitars, gear, noise, and nonsense podcast, hosted today by these knobs.
400, here we go.
And away we go.
Tony Dudzik, Pick Guardian.
Billy Spitfire Unlimited.
Rob Chafe, Mad Cow Amplification.
Chafe.
Hey everybody, it's me, Todd Novak. Welcome to the Guitar Knobs podcast. We're thrilled to death that you're listening to our 400th episode.
400.
I'm so excited. Yeah, Billy, you're surprised. This is the first you've heard of this.
Nice. All right.
Shocker.
I demand a recount.
Time flies when you're
No,
having a podcast.
when you win, you don't need a recount.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are beyond excited because, it's a milestone. I mean, it's not, 500 is too, and so 600. Every 100,
I can't wait for 500.
What happens at
I'm
500?
so looking.
It'd be like about
gonna
what,
be a
May
while.
5th?
No, if we keep doing 2 or 3 a week, we can do that in no
one a
time.
week.
This year.
One a week as best we can. Anyways, all that said, yes, this is a momentous episode for us, and I'm beyond that. We also have a really great subject. This is the 4 on the floor Tremolo episode.
No, do it right.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Are you
somebody
my
strangling a
daddy?
goat.
why isn't
Get in
there a
line.
tremolo called the sheep? Or
Yeah.
something like that.
Because nobody would buy it.
Yeah, no, because it'd be bad.
It's a
I would make one called the GOAT, the greatest of all time.
See, now that's doable. Well done. Well done.
No.
There's
Boy,
an idea out there
separate
for you
those?
guys.
boy,
they
there
don't
is just
clank
so much creativity flowing in this room tonight.
There's a ton. There's a ton.
A lot of something.
Yes, we're all having a great time.
By
at the
creativity,
table.
I mean.
We're right up against the holidays. We've been doubling up on episodes to pack them so that when you're driving around the United States and maybe around the world for Christmas or on Boxing Day or whatever.
No,
Wait,
Boxing Day is the day after.
Right. Whatever. That you still have our
should box your presents before.
sweet voices to listen to. Anyways, so we are going to get to our 4 on the floor very, very soon.
I can't wait.
We got to just talk about a couple things here. First of all, I want to say on the behalf of myself.
And the rest of the guys.
Well, no, just me.
Oh,
you guys
okay.
can say what you want.
Okay.
I know that we're going to have more episodes, but I'm speaking like, if this one was the last. Honestly, I am so unbelievably grateful for the time that we've had with all of our guests, all of the patrons, all of the communications for several years, going back and forth, and all of the learning we've had and the gear and everything. It's just been such a fantastic experience that honestly started with like, maybe this will work. And I could not be happier. This is one of the absolute true loves in my life, doing this show and connecting with everybody out there. And I want to thank Rob for all of the stuff that he has to put up with whenever he does show up here.
Thank you, Todd.
Rob is honestly one of the smartest and most capable and knowledgeable fellas that I know, guitars or not. And he's a really, really solid guy, and I love having him here.
Thank you,
Billy,
Todd.
you are you are joy of life, my friend. You are just. We were just talking about who would be a good spy, and I said everybody would just agree that you're so likable that it doesn't matter if you're a spy or not.
Someday I'm going to monetize my affability.
You need to. But aside from that,
You should.
you love music, you love guitar stuff. You're always fun to hang out with, and I appreciate every time that you're at the table. So let's move on. Perfect. And Tony, Tony,
Welcome.
Thanks for being here, Tony.
I said something to my friend at Sketchy Pedals, who is doing all of our boost stuff. Okay, or Sketchy Sounds.
Sketchy
Yes,
Sounds.
Sketchy Sounds.
Who makes pedals?
He makes pedals. And we were talking about the show and stuff, and I said, it's not that I couldn't do the show without Tony. I just don't know that I should.
You wouldn't want to do it without
I don't know
me.
that I should.
No.
Just because simply I so greatly enjoy our interaction. You are one of my bestest buds, and
Yay.
I'm so glad that you're here. In fact,
Is there a surprise
Is this the
happening?
big reveal?
there's a little something that I got for Tony.
Oh, is it a ring?
It's a yes.
He's finally
I thought you were
proposing.
going to ask if it was a roast beef.
It's a very small roast beef if
Yes.
it's a roast beef.
It's
It's a Sketchy Sounds, and it is a Guitar Knobs number 400
Oh,
right there
In
in Todd Gold and black.
oh
you go.
my gosh!
Oh, that is
Wow.
so cool.
That is way
hold
cool.
it up. Let me see.
I want to touch it.
Touch it.
Oh yeah!
How's
he's
it feel?
talking about the pedal, everybody.
How's it feel?
Wow, that's cool. I love it. It's got one button, one light, and one knob.
Yes.
I want one of these.
You can get them made. He makes them in any color.
Really?
$75 shipped.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah, that's very cool. Thank you, Todd.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
And thank you, Sketchy Sounds, for making such a cool pedal.
Yes,
really cool.
absolutely. That's all him. So,
I love it.
all right.
Now I have to get some black guitars with gold pickguards. Or vice
No,
versa.
no, you don't. No.
Well, we do have a lot to talk about, and we don't want to make this the pat the back show. But
But someday the mayor's going to walk through this door and declare this Effects Pedal Day.
maybe.
You know, it's going to be a local holiday.
He's going to declare it Guitar Knobs Day.
Oh my gosh! Is he going to give you a key to the city?
Yeah,
I would think
he's
so.
just going to drop off the Keeley. All right,
the Keeley pedal.
Yes. So,
such
quick
a good setup,
announcements.
man.
It's been
why we need video.
a memorable 2024
boy.
all over the place. We're not going to get into that, but what we will get into is what is going on in our music world this week, the last Guitar Knobs episode week of the year. Tony,
Yes.
hit it.
Well, that was a pretty lame introduction.
Sorry.
That wasn't that bad.
No, I didn't
He's
think so
done.
either.
He's done much worse. Give him some,
Yeah.
you know.
I've done much worse.
I'm saying introducing me.
Tanya
Yeah.
Bolonsky, you lead us off.
All right. So, my buddy Steve, who works for me part time, gave me this little token of his esteem, and it is a sort of I guess it's sort of a 335 shaped guitar. It is the 2024
Looks like a
Hallmark
335.
ornament.
Oh, that's cool.
And it's called the Jumpin' Jack Flash. Now, you might be wondering why it's called that.
Ah, that's cool.
That's pretty cool.
And it's got the Union Jack on the
Oh
front.
my gosh! Oh yeah. Okay.
Okay, now I have to pay royalties.
That's a
for that.
Hallmark?
Oh,
Thanks.
yeah.
No, that was only 5 seconds.
Oh man.
Yeah,
Isn't that cool?
that's
That's
super
very
cool,
cool.
man.
So thank you, Steve. That was kind of fun.
That's very kind
I
of
love
Steve.
These. I love these little things. So yeah, I mean, and you know, other things. I did pick up a couple of guitars, but we'll talk about that next time.
Pick up a
Oh
couple.
boy, yeah. He kept sending me pictures of guitars that he's getting. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Some of them are pretty incredible. I gotta admit that. Billy Boy, how about you?
What's new in my guitar world? Well, I brought in my latest contraption,
Yeah, that's quite a guitar, my friend.
my Fender Tornado
In
in sparkly blue with a white racing stripe.
well, let's
it's a
clarify.
bent white racing stripe.
It's not like the '90s racing stripes. It's
Right.
it's more like a '70s stripe because it's like a '70s van stripe.
Yeah, that's it.
That's
Yeah.
what you need.
That's why people kept walking up to me going, "Hey man, you got any weed?" Seriously, it's
that's
got a
why.
matching blue headstock.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And I swapped out the humbuckers for a Fat Cat P90s,
those are good.
and then I slapped on a Duesenberg
Yeah.
Wow.
because it has a stop tailpiece on it. So
Now you went with the
Yeah.
paddle Duesenberg, not the rod. I noticed.
yes, I like the paddles. They just feel better to me.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that's a new
And
revelation?
plus, they're a little sleeker. They match, especially on this guitar. It matches the lines.
Yeah,
you
it makes
know?
sense on this one for sure.
Yeah, it makes a sense on a lot of them. There's a few that the ride is cooler.
It's closer to a Bigsby vibe.
Yeah, it's more
way.
of a
Yeah.
Bigsby vibe.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Very cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so anyway, the thing smokes.
Now you just need like
It's
a
an
matching.
offset, it's kind of an offset Jazzmaster shape, but it's it's got not rounded edges, but it does have a little relief in the back by my belly,
Yeah.
because I do have an old man belly now.
You need to get one of those couch straps that are in metallic blue, dude.
Yes,
with the stripes.
I do.
I mean, they literally make
do.
straps that look just like that.
Oh my god, yeah. And I have a Telecaster that's same color scheme.
Yeah.
Exactly the same colors with a racing stripe.
Is that it?
But it's
What's
just
in
a
the
straight
strummer
one.
case?
Yeah,
That's cool.
yeah, man. No, it's over there.
Oh.
in the
By yes, you mean no.
right. It's not in that strum. He's talking about my new Joe Strummer pink Fender
Oh, that is so cool.
Tolex on the outside, and then it's
Leopard
got the
print
leopard
on the
the
side,
inside.
yeah.
What possessed you to buy that?
Ooh. I
Other
saw
than the
it.
fact that it's
I
really
saw
cool.
it.
It's not.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had to have it.
That might be the coolest guitar case I think I've ever seen. Like legit.
And I think I want to do my amp in that same color scheme.
Oh.
You think that'd be cool?
Yeah, just don't put the leopard on the inside of the amp. Nobody will see it. Anyways, Rob, how about yourself?
Well, I can't top that. So, this a couple of weeks ago goes along with this though. I got a full tone Super Trem Junior pedal used. That's quite the look there, Todd. This is why we need video. So yeah, disappointed unfortunately because it has a tap
That
tempo.
seems to be the theme of the time when it comes to the full tone stuff.
Well, no, just the
The original Super Trem.
No, I'm
Yeah.
just talking about
Is it because it just has one
It's
side?
So no, it's supposed to have more features, and it does. I said supposed to. It does have more features.
It certainly looks easier to use.
Well, yeah, it's a little better form factor. It's smaller with the same controls on it, but it also has a tap tempo button, which I thought that might be nice because some stuff I do I actually need it perfectly or as close in time. So I was like, that'd be neat. And then if you step on it, it goes from half speed to normal speed too. So
So like a little rampy bit.
it doesn't ramp, it just changes.
Oh, it just changes.
Just
So
changes.
like a hard change? Like,
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Which you usually don't use in a song, and using the
Yeah.
tremolo not as a rotary effect, but as a trem. But anyways, but it stereo outputs on it, and it had something else. A couple things that in the form factor is much smaller, it's like this big, So I got in, I was like, hey, if it sounds pretty much like the old one, it'd
Why
be
do
nice
you
to
have
have a
two
temp.
phones?
Work phone, play phone.
Work phone?
Work phone.
You are at work. Anyways, go ahead.
Anyways, so I was like, hey, and this is an older one. It was before, Diamond or not Diamond, whoever's making them now, doesn't matter. Before they got re-released, so I'd say, okay, it was made by Fuller, so it should sound. And he says it sounds just like the other one, like the original.
He says a lot of things.
He is not accurate. He apparently did not hear them next to each other. It's good, but it's not the same. I don't know what it is, but it sounds way more clinical and just.
Is it opto as well?
He says it is. He says it's digital controlled, but still 100% analog opto. Yeah.
Optical, in case nobody understands.
I don't know what it is, but it's not the same. It's not bad. And if
Yeah.
you hadn't already played through the regular Super Trem and got used to that kind of warm vintagey thing,
Yep.
it would probably be good compared to most of them. But yeah. So anyway, I got that, and I was like, I scored it for a great price. So no problem, I'll be able to get rid of it. But I was like, yeah, okay, this might save me some real estate. And A-B'd, I was like, oh, okay. Oh, well.
Yeah.
So,
Maybe you
That's
should just
interesting.
rehab
Live
it.
and learn.
Because you're a live player, so you
yeah,
I
I know
yeah.
what I need, and and that was like,
cool.
yeah. So
All right.
anyways, but that was my week.
Okay. Sounds good. As for myself,
Hey, Todd, what about you?
oh, well.
What's new in your
I was
guitar
busy, mostly busy just kind of packing up some more baloney pedals and getting those out.
Did you put some mustard on them?
Yeah. No, Tony, that's a really stupid thing to
That would
say.
be disgusting if your pedal showed up. It's covered in well, you ordered a bologna.
Yeah, and just trying to get as much stuff out as I can towards the end of the year. We got a lot of cool stuff that we're planning for the beginning of the year, early on, and then including hoodies and some other zip hoodies and stuff.
The motorcycle jacket hoodies, right?
Yeah, we're doing motorcycle jackets with our logo on the back. It's going to be great. No, we're not. Yeah, so
only
so kinda low-key.
$29.95.
I did want an update though. So I was talking earlier about I got V picks and then I got these chicken picking picks. I think they're called chicken picks, and those ones are from Denmark. And they were they were getting rave reviews. I can't get it to, I got to lick my fingers like every 5 seconds. The thing just goes flying out of my hand.
Right.
Yeah, it is like indestructible. Like I will give it that. And it's a great form factor. But the thing that it lacks, that the V-Pick has, is that like absolutely sticky. Like it just like sticks on and go. So I'm sticking with the V-Pick. At least for now. Until I'm presented with something different.
I just use Dunlop. I don't get all fancy.
Do you like the
bougie like him.
Delrins?
I don't know. They're these little purple guys I've been
Oh,
using
you use
for
those
30
little
years.
picks, but they're it's like a matte finish.
just- yeah.
But
Yeah,
your
that's
playing
the
style
Delrin
is like
plastic.
They're just
completely different than
Dunlop.
mine.
Yeah.
Yeah, it couldn't be more different. That's what happened.
gonna
Mine,
take that.
kind of a low key thing. But also been doing just a tremendous amount of editing and stuff. So
Nice.
we've got in front of us a Metro 20 from.
Pedal train.
That's right, and we've got 4 pedals up here.
Hey,
and
Todd.
5 pedals.
Todd,
Yes.
how are those pedals connected?
By Tour Gear Designs patch cables, of course.
Of course.
Yes.
I see a C shape.
Couple of C
I
shapes.
see a couple S shapes.
Yep, it's great.
And boy, I think you could put probably another 2 or 3 pedals on that board if you wanted to.
Probably, yeah. So obviously, we like them. It's a great choice. Go to tourgeardesigns.com. Get yourself some of these patch cables.
Load up your cart. You're gonna love them.
Yep, and then put in the guitar knobs into the coupon code, and you're going to be happy. So
What do you get with that coupon code?
you get 15% off.
15%.
That's correct.
Holy moly.
Get over there and do that. Lickety split.
So if I bought 100, it'd be like paying for 85.
Exactly.
That's math, yeah.
That's
But don't ask me about math. I'm not
that's
the right
way-
person for that.
That's the way algebraic equations work.
That is correct. All right. So thank you to Tour Gear for sponsoring our literal 4 on the floor. There's no clap or anything after that. Sorry, everybody. We're just going to do the episode. Oh, that kind of clap. Yay. Yay.
Thank you to your designs.
Yes. Okay. What we have is we just mentioned the Metro 20 board here.
Yes.
We've got Tony, would you want to read them off?
No,
You got-
you're doing
okay.
such a fine
Oh,
job.
thank you too much. We have the Diamond Tremolo.
Diamond Tremolo.
Yeah, the
In surf green.
the dual button version, not the. I think they did a smaller box version.
I think you're
This
right.
is the bigger box version.
Bigger box, surf green.
That's right. We also have the MXR
Tremolo.
what is it?
M305.
M305
to be
Tremolo.
specific.
That's right.
But it just says Tremolo.
It just
on
says Tremolo. We also have the Walrus Monument and the Copper Sound Loma Prieta.
Ooh, that's
Yes.
such a pretty name.
It is. It really is. We did ask some of our listeners, some of the patrons on Patreon, like, hey, what tremolos would you like to get evaluated here? Now, there were some criteria. This isn't what is the best tremolo. What we are looking at is tremolos for, I guess, the player right now. Okay,
The modern player.
I would say a modern player, but that feels very exclusive.
Okay.
What we're not doing is going back into the history books and saying this was the best tremolo in '72, or something like that, right?
Right.
We got a lot of requests for the Super Trem. We had a lot of requests for the Hummingbird. We had a lot of requests for things that didn't really fit this board. What we're looking at on this board is if especially for like somebody who might be gigging, or just wants more options. Okay.
Yeah.
The Super Trim, pretty limited in what it does. It does its thing. It does it very, very well. Nobody's going to argue that.
It's like a Rickenbacker 12-string.
That's right. Exactly. The Hummingbird is based on an amp. There's lots of tremolos that are based on an amp. So that's probably going to be another episode at some point in time. What we're looking at is functional tremolo only. So there's no reverb. There's no delay or any other mixed stuff.
And with lots of options.
With lots of options, but not paralyzing. It isn't,
No.
so we tried to kind of find that, like, what is a really, really, really useful tremolo?
And we only had space for 4.
We only had space for 4 because it's called 4 on the floor. So,
I see how that works.
yes, and after a lot of debate and a lot of discussion, this is where we landed. We know there are loads of other tremolos. We have a very comprehensive Excel sheet. And a lot of those tremolos fit specific categories. These are the ones that gave us the biggest, I think maybe the most range in what we're talking about.
Yeah.
They are all very affordable and very accessible.
Yes.
Okay. Anything to add to that, Rob?
Do you have the prices handy?
Well, Rob, it's funny you ask. I do have the prices for these.
How convenient.
Yes. So we mentioned the Diamond at the beginning. Now we have the old, I guess the more familiar model.
Yeah.
It has been re-released in a standard size box. The box that we have right here, these are going for about $150 reverb used, right?
So at one time it was probably about close to a $200
Brand new. These are the smaller box is about $250. It's
okay,
kind of
so-
like up and down a little bit from there. So we'll just call it
And that is about what they sold for
a
new.
cool $250. Yeah. The MXR is $170 brand new. The Walrus Monument is $220 brand new, and the Copper Sound Loma Prieti is $200.
Okay.
So they're all
close.
right there in that range.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if you go from the original price on the Diamond, they're all in the same ballpark.
Now, they don't all do the same thing exactly. Or else this wouldn't be much of a show. And they don't sound the same or at all, which is, that's the kind of the fun part to go through this. We've all done our diligence. I think we all each have notes, and this is going to be a great time.
Let's do it.
All right. Again, we are not discussing which one is the very best one.
Yes, we are.
We will have our own personal opinions on which one we might choose.
Yeah.
But as far as that goes, that's just us. Okay. All right. We're going to start with the Diamond.
Okay.
This is the Diamond Tremolo. This is in Surf Green. Now, one of the reasons that we picked this one is that it's all analog. And it is an optical-based tremolo, and it is, big knobs, easy to read, easy to use, form factor. It doesn't take, much to figure this out. What's going on? Okay, so let's just talk about functionality-wise. What is available on this? You have 4 knobs. It is a speed knob, a depth knob, a volume knob, and a mode knob, which is a rotary knob. Now, one of the things that I have struggled with in finding tremolos for myself, I gotta have a volume knob, and a lot of a lot of notable tremolos out there don't have volume knobs, and for me, I gotta have a volume knob. We have 2 foot switches. We've got an on-off and a tap and double.
Yes.
So there's also a momentary paddle switch, a flipper switch, which is really
It's
was
a
bizarre.
toggle.
Like I was like, did this
Toggle.
come to me broken? Because it's not really a toggle,
No, it is. It's a toggle switch. It's just
But
a
not in this-
momentary toggle switch.
right?
But it toggles up.
it only.
We could just flip it around and toggle down, Tony.
Just touch it.
Oh,
I
jeez.
think I'd
It's,
like
it's
it
a
then.
momentary toggle. That's all
Right.
it is.
Yeah.
So, anyways,
Don't touch it.
Paddle.
on the mode knob, there is a quarter note, which is 1-to-1, eighth note, which doubles, triplet, which triples, oddly. There's an R knob on here, and that's called rhythmic. And in non-DBL speed, double speed, this mode has a repeating eighth quarter note rhythm, while in double speed, it changes to a repeating 16th, 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 8th rhythm, which is a little bit complicated.
Yeah, it's a signature rhythm, we'll call it.
A signature rhythm. Thank you. That's very good.
Go.
There's a C mode, which is chaos, and in this mode, the trem speed varies chaotically, but centered around the current set speed, which is kind of interesting, and it gives a cool broken trem effect.
Just what I want.
Yes, and then there is a manual selector here. The manual selector is a unique mode that sets apart from the first 5 time-based modes. With shark fin, sine, or square waves, there is no trem effect heard until you hold down the tap or double. So if it's in the double mode, the tap button actually activates that.
You
to
mean
do
the
its
on-off
funny stuff.
button?
That one.
Ah, the tap. Okay.
Oh, Rob is on one. Old Moanin' Rob's got me by the...
Well, he's pushing the
Tails.
wrong, and he's like the tap.
So there is also the momentary paddle switch, which we were talking about, and that is it cycles through shark fin, sine, square, and chop, which is kind of unique. They didn't put a whole nother button on there. They just go like, well, we're just going to make you like click this thing until you know what's going on. Now, at first blush, you're like, well, how do you know? Well, because the LED changes color, which is green, orange, red, and then green, red alternating. So if you get familiar with this, you'll understand it and you'll be okay with it. At first blush, it's like a little bit like, what the heck?
I'm betting most users of that, though, will not be switching between the waves very much. You know what I mean?
Kind of. That's one of the things that I like.
Especially if you're playing
I
this
use
in
two
the
different.
sun.
I like two different.
Well, we're
kind of
talking
waves.
like musicians, though. You know.
Oh, Rob.
I think if I were designing this, I wouldn't use the paddle switch. I would put a fifth knob
knob.
that
Yeah.
was like click, click, click.
But
Yeah.
then you got 5 knobs, Tony.
Yeah.
I don't mind that.
Yeah.
Where are you gonna
Anyways,
put it?
we don't know why they did it. But
Right
that's
over
what
the
they
logo.
Did. That's what they did. And that makes this pedal a little bit unique. One of the other reasons that we chose this one is this is probably the most well-known, I guess, historically of these tremolos. So we wanted something
Yeah, that's
that
fair.
had a little bit of, everybody has agreed, like, this is a really solid tremolo.
It's a well-known one. Yeah.
It's a lot of boards. Yeah. All right. So
So there you go.
that is what this pedal does.
Thank you, Todd.
Go ahead, Rob.
Yeah, so on the Diamond, I really like what you're talking about, the selectable waveforms. In the first one, they call it a shark tooth. That is the closest to an opto trem. How
Do
it?
you have fleas or something?
Yeah, I
What's
got an
going
itch
on?
right here. I think I got bit by something. I do.
Oh, my goodness.
It's driving me crazy. But yeah, so there's sawtooth one or whatever. That's the closest to an optical where it ramps up and then drops
Yeah.
off. Yeah,
Yeah.
So that's the one I preferred the best. And the tap tempo was awesome with the subdivisions too. And I especially liked
Subdivisions.
how you could just hold the button and it'll go between the double and half time. That was very useful.
Yeah.
So, yep. That's about all I got on that.
I think you should include Rob's first comments too, because I liked what you said, and I'm going to repeat them if you don't.
Well, no, you
Okay, I'm gonna
you could
repeat
take
my-
them
Okay,
for
go
yourself.
ahead, Billy.
So, all right, so
Into
Well,
the microphone.
Plagiarism.
I think that diamond pedal sounded seamless when I was playing through a tube amp.
Yeah.
Like it didn't change the sound to any other kind of whatever. There's nothing robotic about it. It just felt natural. Everything that came out of it made sense, like to my ears, and it was just very good feeling. So that's what I like about that pedal.
It's funny you mentioned. I actually made a note here that the tonal response of that one was almost identical,
It was-
bypassed and engaged.
Yes.
There's no extra compression
No color,
to it.
no color,
Right.
no compression.
I noticed a little
That's what
bit
it is.
of upper mid range, like around 1K, but we're talking
Maybe,
like
yeah.
super slight.
Now,
Yeah.
how about some of the other selections on here?
Okay, so first of all, the flapper thing, I would never be able to use that live. I mean, even if all I did was just set it in one spot, because it's all these different colors for the settings. Like if you're playing in bright lights or the sun, I have no idea what that thing's on. So that's a problem.
that's fair.
That's a problem for me.
So you'd have to just
As a
set it
li-
on one and be like, that's
Well, and
it.
you-
Yeah, and hope it
colorblind,
stays
too.
there. Hope I don't bump it. I don't know. So, but other than that, I really like, because I am a live player, I like the fact that the two switches that are on there are separated. And
Far enough, yeah.
You have a reasonable shot at seeing the lights. They're a little bit close to the switch. I like the lights a little farther away from the switch, just so that when I stomp it, I know that it's on.
Yeah.
Before I step back
I
off
can
of
get
it.
behind that.
You
I can
know
get
what I
behind
mean?
that.
So, but otherwise, I like that.
And this is the 1590 BB size, just in case anybody's wondering.
turn oriented side. Yeah, it's a good point, Billy, because I'm
Yeah.
a big proponent of that. If the foot switches aren't at least 2.5 or 3 inches apart, I'm stepping on both of them at the same time.
Yeah, it's very
Yeah,
it's difficult.
Yeah.
I have a hard
I don't
time
tap
with that,
dance on
too.
stage either.
Right.
Tony?
I think what both of these fine gentlemen said is right. To me, it was the most natural sounding trem, like amp tremolo, which is what I like. But you can also configure it to do more choppy stuff, and it really, I mean, it's a pretty versatile pedal without going to the realm of ridiculousness. And again, my biggest issue with this one was that toggle, the wave switch, which you have to kind of go up, and then
Sounds just like
Sorry. Couldn't resist.
What about you, Todd? What did you think of the
Well, I have some notes.
diamond? Okay.
So my impressions were, I like the fact that the knobs were big, easy to read, easy to use. Again, thinking gig situation. Now, typically, I'm not messing around with the knobs and stuff in the gig. You have that set up ahead of time. But I did like that factor. This one had a higher dB than the others. At 10 o'clock, it was at Unity.
yeah.
So it has a lot of dB to go, which I do also very much appreciate.
Good point.
I felt that the pots had a lot of sweep available for range of effect and easy, precise control. When they have less range, it's like it's a little kind of tough to be like, whoa,
To
that's
dial
too
it
fast,
in.
it's too slow,
Yeah,
it's
right,
too
right.
deep, it's too shallow, So I did appreciate the range of the potentiometer control. It had side mountain jacks. I don't like side mount
Yeah,
jacks.
but if it didn't
I
have-
don't like Rob.
What?
Rob, don't invalidate my feelings.
No. I'm just saying that you're wrong.
Well played.
But the side mount jacks, like even if you could butt another pedal up next to it, then you couldn't hit the foot switch button. So it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're
you
gonna, at
could.
least going to have an inch off either side, or
You
else.
could. I don't want to.
Let's
I
move this
don't
right
want it.
next to it. So
I don't like side-mounted jacks.
right,
Okay,
there you go.
The momentary
pedal
pedal
sideways and then on
wave
top.
is very cool, but not super intuitive, and it's not. It wouldn't make me not want this pedal, but it is a little bit odd. I would fancy it if it was on an actual knob. The LED indicators associated with the momentary switch are not super clearly discernible until you get really familiar with the pedal. Like red and orange are difficult if you have blinking lights flashing at you.
yes.
The foot switches were wide enough spread and is way more helpful in a live situation and less disruptive when you're playing. Because if you have to worry about what you're about to do, you're immediately taken out of your music. And to me, that is a really difficult thing. I never used the tap, so the bonus modes are interesting, though probably not going to be used immediately. I think you'd have to take some time and spend it, and really understand what this thing can do. I'm sure it has placement in music. obviously, or else they wouldn't have put it on there. But just for like, if we're just talking about like, let's get some standard tremolo going. I thought this was
You're talking the rhythmic and the chaotic one.
rhythmic, chaotic,
Yeah.
the manual, like all that stuff.
Yeah.
The double. And then really, really solidly built. I mean, there's thousands of these out there, and you can tell when you pick it up, you're like, this thing is built really, really well. Most important, this pedal did not color my sound, and it sounded very natural, not digital in any way, shape, or form. That's not saying that digital is bad. I'm just pointing out that this felt very natural.
Right. That's interesting. We all pretty had.
That's weird
I mean,
that we
the
said that.
same,
yeah.
you know,
But
echoing the
that's
same
significant.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Significant.
How about that?
I thought the Diamond was it was a fantastic neutral tremolo that can do loads of things, though for the better, those options do not burden the user interface. Yeah. Check that out.
All right.
Okay, so let's move on to the
guitar knobs.
to the MXR. All right, this is the MXR M305 Tremolo. This is digital, and as we said before, it goes new 170, used about 125. It is true bypass by default and optional buffered bypass mode. Let's see what else here. This features 1 foot switch, an expression tap jack, so like you could put in just a manual an expression pedal, or just a button, a foot switch extension to do tap if you wanted to. The knobs are speed, depth, and gain, and the way that you get into the modes is by pushing the gain knob. So you push down on the gain knob, which fortunately these are not like free spinning potentiometers. So if you push it, it's still going to pretty much stay in the same place. When you push the knobs, it acts like sort of like a dragster tree, and it goes down the LEDs, and it toggles left to right. So green, red, green, red, green, red, green, red. Into those modes, they are MXR, the classic M159 sound, bias, vintage bias waveform, which emulates lush compression of browned out tubes, the Revo, or reverse optical waveform, which produces more exaggerated peaks and valleys. The Opto, which is the optical waveform, emulating smooth, pulsating effect generated by vintage amplifiers. Square, which is choppy, pronounced effects. Harm, which is vintage harmonic tremolo for shimmering frequency modulation. And optional envelope mode. There's a lot going on in this little tiny pedal here. It is a standard MXR pedal. They've packed a lot into this. Billy, go.
Well,
Oh, it has a stereo and mono switch too. Go ahead.
yeah. Okay. So the good is that there were some kind of cool sounds that you could make with it that sounded unique, almost like some sort of delay sound. It was kind of robotic for me.
That might be the reverse optical one.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I mean, you got. Yeah, there's like several choices with those modes, and lots of different like
6 to be exact.
all kinds of stuff. So,
What was that again?
Yeah,
But
but
something.
but some of it was just robotics, I don't know. It kind of had that abrasive thing to it.
Too choppy. Too choppy.
Yeah, I don't know. So
Helicopter.
Anyway, there was. I think if you played with it, there
Noonan.
would be some cool sounds that you could use for different things. As a widespread, tremolo pedal in the classical sense, it doesn't copy any of the classical sounds. Like
They're all like
out of my
slightly
Fender two
their
Yeah.
own.
Right.
Yeah, they're trying
Yeah.
to put the spin on it.
right.
How about the form factor?
Oh, the form. I mean, it's fine. It's one button. I'm all about simplicity.
Yeah.
And the tap thing wasn't bad either.
Yeah.
I can't. I have a hard time seeing small lights like that. But
Yes.
as far as being able to use it, I could see it definitely being able to,
Okay.
as a functional
Tony.
stage.
Yeah, I
So.
think in a live situation, changing those modes would be almost impossible unless you're holding the pedal itself. This one was kind of the most familiar sounding to me because back in I think I had it was an MXR Tremolo. I don't know which model it was. I'm guessing it was this.
The M159, Tony.
That's probably what it was, but I couldn't tell you. All I know is an MXR Tremolo.
It's the M159, Tony.
Thank you. Thank you
All
for
right.
clarifying that. So I liked most of the sounds out of this one. If you don't need a tap tempo, then you're not going to really miss anything. If that's a sound that you want to do, or you want to be able to create the tempo in line with the music that you're playing at that stage, then you would have to get an external either push button or expression pedal, which is kind of inconvenient. But overall, and especially for the money, they packed an awful lot of pedals into this. I think this is the least expensive of the bunch that we're looking at, right?
New price.
Yeah, new price. So it's pretty remarkable what they were able to put into this pedal. Certainly the one that I had back in the 80s was probably, it did one sound, and I think it may have had two knobs. I don't know. I can't even remember now. But it was a very familiar sound to me. So
Okay. Rob?
Yep. So my notes, first one is simple layout, easy to use, good form factor, small package size. So
Yeah.
it is the small, what is that, 59B box? Is that what size
Yeah.
the standard?
The standard MXR.
Yeah. So that's nice. And just like Tony said, if you want expression or use expression or momentary for tap tempo, you can. If you don't care about it or just need that real estate, you don't have it.
Yeah.
As far as all
Mike's
the sounds
over here, buddy.
well, but I'm looking at you. As far as all the sounds,
Yes.
yeah, I thought it was nice they had so many options for the waveforms. And it's a little awkward. You got to push the button down, but it's self-explanatory how to get through them.
Yeah, once you do it, you're like, oh, okay, get it.
Yeah. So I like that.
It's actually easier than the diamond.
Yeah.
It's-
yeah,
well,
because you can just
you
look
can
down and see
visually,
it
you can see it.
visually.
And once you do it a couple times, you kind of know where everything is,
Yeah.
just like any other thing.
That being said, the bias was similar to what a bias modulated trem does, like the old Brown Fenders. Similar. It's like I go, okay, I can kind of see where they're getting that from.
Yeah.
And the harmonic too. I thought the harmonic was nice. Actually, it's the only one that had a harmonic on it. I do like harmonic trem.
No.
It's a completely
This
different
has
thing.
harmonic on it. This has harmonic on it. Three of them have
The
harmonic.
Walrus has harmonic
Yeah.
on
Yep,
it.
right on the back. There's a switch.
Thanks for playing,
No, the
Rob.
Walrus. I didn't know if the Cooper or Copper might, but the
It's on the
Walrus
back.
does.
Oh, it's on the back.
No, on the Walrus.
Yes, it's right here.
Okay.
Huh. Interesting.
That's okay.
Okay.
All right.
So yeah, so those, and again, they were similar. But I gotta say, all of the sounds though, it's like it reminded me of like the first multi-effects that Digitech came out with that were like $99, and it's like, well, I guess that's sort of like an opto, or that's sort of like but
Yeah.
it's not really. That's the way I felt. So it's like you got 6 options here, but none of them really do any of them spot on.
Spot on. Right.
And I don't believe the MXR is an opto
No.
tremolo.
Wait. Hang on.
Well, it's got 2 functions for opto. They call opto and reverse opto.
Right.
No, I don't think it's opto
But
either.
it's
Yeah,
but
the
it's like
technology,
But it's
It's
I don't
digital.
know
It's
what it
digital.
is.
yeah, it's digital. But what I
It's-
was saying is some of the presets are supposed to represent
Right,
opto.
right.
Just like the bias is like, well, it's similar-ish, but the opto is further from an opto.
Yeah.
The square, it's like it's square, but it's not. Anyways, so yeah, while it's got all those functions or waveforms, none of them are like, wow, these are 6 spot-on waveforms.
Right.
The tone, drastic tone, and I'm talking. So I said each one of these at one point, so it's bypassed. So, or when I say bypassed, no effect. So I can just hear in and out of the pedal how much it changes it.
Yeah, I don't know that I did that. That was a good idea.
The MXR, sounded like this when it's engaged. Big, fat, low end, rounded off, and there's no attack. All the notes lost the clarity. It was like they were under a blanket. It was drastic, and I was surprised at that. So, yeah, those are my notes.
Interesting. Okay, so my impressions. It had medium dB. It was at 1 o'clock for unity gain in test. So it's kind of cool. You did like just bypass, and I did all like where's the dB,
Where's
the
unity
unity
at?
on it and stuff.
That's neat. I didn't think about doing that.
I thought it was very easy to operate. It's three knobs and then the like LED tree and one knob or one foot switch, I should say. So I'm thinking like for somebody who's like I don't need the most wonderful tremolo. I don't need a tremolo that does everything in the universe. I don't need a super lush harmonic tremolo or something like that. Then this is like a really, really good. I don't want to say entry level because it's there are entry levels and this is a little bit more advanced than that. But it's a great like intermediate, user friendly, never gonna go wrong tremolo.
This one, to your point, might be of these four options the best one if you're not sure what kind of tremolo you want.
Exactly. That was one of my points. So it was like a sandwich shop that sells sandwiches named after celebrities. That was my assessment. And we've talked about that.
Okay, then again, I need whoever's writing his copy.
What it is, which takes guesswork, but it can be limiting.
Okay.
Okay. So we talked about like, I mean, I think it's this sound, but is it?
Right.
And if I manipulate it enough, do I like it? Do I not like it? Yeah. So that was my metaphorical assessment of.
Would
that
you
part.
have the Paul Lind or the Jonathan Winters?
Paul Lind every day?
Okay.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Or the Charles Nelson Riley.
Easy to select the other modes. Just bop, 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 bop. And I actually really appreciated it. I didn't have to do a rotary and, it was like tick, tick, tick. You got it. Now, the first time I did it, I was like, wait, what am I doing? But then I was like, oh, that's actually kind of user-friendly fun.
Yeah.
But again, I think in a live situation, it would be different. I think changing settings on any of these pedals live might be a little tricky.
When you
It
say
could
live,
be.
you mean in the middle of a song or just
No,
live?
I'm saying in between songs. I think that would be
In
easily
between
doable.
songs, yeah. But
It would
if
be
you were-
easier to do than the Diamond would
Yeah.
be.
In between songs. You got to come watch me play. I'm changing settings during this song. It's not the big of a deal.
Yeah. Anyways,
So you can do it, Tony.
Rob, you're so good.
I have
So anyways,
faith in you.
Yeah,
back to
I just
this.
didn't like
You
the way
can.
that MXR it didn't
sound and
reproduce my
response.
sound very well.
As soon as you turned it on, you're like, "What happened to my sound?"
Yeah, it's like a different,
okay.
fair
play. Fair play.
in my mind, and that's where I think of it as
Billy,
it's
your
an,
90
it's
seconds
an
are up.
effect. It's an effect.
Hey, let the man speak.
It's an effect. It's gonna, it's
Yeah.
gonna do something.
It's going to do something.
Okay, so are there cool sounds in there you can get? Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it gonna warble? Is it gonna reproduce my sound but just go traditional tremolo? No, it's not traditional at all.
No, it isn't. I don't think it is as traditional. Certainly not as much as a Diamond.
The only
Right.
thing I'll argue against you, there are some players that won't hear the difference in tone or response.
Absolutely.
know.
Yeah.
So for them, they're like, I get 6 different effects.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, so back to my notes, gentlemen. This is it's an MXR. It's built like a tank. It's going to last.
Yeah.
And if you are gigging or something and something happens, you can get these,
Anywhere.
I didn't feel it colored my signal. I said it did not color my signal.
See, there you go. I
It
told
sounds a bit cold, but felt relatively neutral. Some modes felt a bit more digital. And then it seemed to separate the signal more than others. And by that, I felt like it was a little detached from what I was playing.
That might have been the loss of attack. Like you hit a note and you're like,
Maybe.
it takes a second. You don't hear that immediate.
Yeah, there's like just a millisecond of like what's going on.
I think it's the compression loss of attack that you're noticing with that.
Yeah. So overall assessment, I thought this is a great bass tremolo that can do loads of things at the touch of a knob and affordable, brand new.
Yeah.
Okay, the Walrus.
Gajoob.
Yes. So here
What's
we
a
go.
walrus sound
The
like?
Walrus Monument.
I don't know what noise they
Look,
make.
there goes a narwhal.
That's exactly what it sounds like.
Here comes a bikini whale.
Okay, so the Walrus Monument V2 harmonic tremolo. This
Yes.
is one of the most popular modern tremolos out there by far.
Says who?
Says sales of things.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
I didn't know if you were pulling this off of
No, I mean,
Metal Boards of Doom or something.
I figure that out when I do this research.
How about that?
Okay, so this is a digital pedal. It is true bypass. New, it's 220. Used about 115. And the controls are this one. We're starting to escalate into more controls, more visible controls, more tactile controls. Okay, so this has 5 knobs, a toggle switch, and 2 foot switches. Okay. Now, what we have, the foot switches are bypass, so it's a momentary function. The bypass switch also has, when the pedal is in off position, you press to hold, and it temporarily activates the effect to add a moment of texture. Releasing the switch turns the effect off. It also ramps up. So when the pedal is on, press and hold the bypass switch to ramp up the tremolo rate. Release the switch and the rate will ramp down. It has top mounted jacks. Hooray. The first 2 had side mounted, which is silly. I'm just kidding. If you like it, you like it, whatever. It has an expression and tap jack as well. The knobs are volume. Easy. Division. The division knob sets the multiplication factor used to multiply the tempo set by the tap switch. The divisions are quarter, triplet, eighth, and 16th. That's a very common thing on tremolos. I got to be honest. I see those. I'm like, what the hell is this? That's just me.
And
I know. That's where I turn
switched
into like
through the most.
Silly dumb guy. Those scare me. Rate,
math.
which we know. Shape, that's kind of interesting, but that's where you get shape is also form, waveform. Depth, gain, and you push the mode cycle to do that, which is kind of interesting. So if you push down a mode, you hit the mode cycle, it'll give you the gain. There's a toggle. The toggle handles the harmonic or standard version of this. The harmonic toggles a unique mode enabling a, quote, Fender Brownface style vibrato with a low and high pass split signal. The LFO modulates each signal but opposite of each other or 180 out of phase. And then standard mode is, just regular. Okay, so, Tony.
This one I felt was a little crowded. It does a lot of things. I did like, I think the harmonic standard switch, to me, works or is the most intuitive, I guess.
It's not hidden in some factor.
Yeah, exactly.
It was the only one that was just like, here it is.
Overall, I thought it sounded pretty, I thought they were pretty useful in terms of the sounds that you could get out of it. I didn't have an opportunity to try it with the expression pedal or jack, but I think there's enough on it that you can dial in pretty decent sounding tremolos. And like I said, I thought having the standard and harmonic switches, it was very straightforward and I thought relatively easy to use.
Mm-hmm. Billy?
What I will say about this is that I felt you could get some very cool, good, bad, and ugly sounds.
Yeah.
The Wild West sounds. And the graphics on the thing kind of reflect that idea that, hey man, you can sound like you're playing in a canyon. That said, I thought it was odd that it's almost like having a good delay. It's almost in delay territory. I don't know why
Okay.
I say that, but it just kind of had that feel.
Okay.
But the sound is good. I thought the sound replication was good. Like what came from my guitar and on into the amp felt very consistent, whether it was on or off.
How about the form
So
factor?
the form factor, the switches are too close. All the knobs are too close. It'd be tough to use live for me.
Okay.
I mean, I would still end up just setting it in one place and
Yeah.
praying that I hit
If
hit
it's
one knob, and
using your tippy
hit
toe to turn it on,
Yeah,
off.
yeah. Right.
Tape
right.
off the other one.
Right,
kind of
right.
thing.
I'd wear my pointed,
Yeah, put it
Your
on
Chelsea boots.
put it on the outside edge of your board so you can only hit that
Right.
one.
Yeah.
Right. So, but that's me as a live player.
Yeah.
If I was in the studio, hey, cool, this is awesome.
Yeah. A lot of experimental opportunities with this.
Yeah.
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 Rob.
Same things that they both said. It's the form factor. It's way too much stuff and way too small of a package. But to your point, that definitely in a studio you can dial in and adjust everything. And I see more and more guys that are using this kind of stuff that's got a lot of pedals on it, 2-foot switches, everything, like church worship things where they get these huge pedal boards and they do kind of tip tap around stuff. It's not the same live performance, dirty bar kind of jumping around thing. So that crowd seems to like it. As far as sound, when I put it, engaged it, but had the depth all the way off, I found this one to be the most one-to-one same as far as whatever we put into it, output, response, attack, EQ, everything. But I thought overall it sounded kind of sterile to me, kind of like too perfect, just a little sterile, a little lifeless to me. I thought all the waveforms did a pretty good job representing what they were supposed to do. And I thought all the controls were useful. Like none of them were like, well, this is worthless or this only works, this sweep here to here. But I wasn't inspired by anything. So between the form factor, not inspired, those are probably the two biggest downside. What I would see this used for most of all, I made a note in here, lends itself to the soundscape type of applications.
Okay, that's totally fair. Yeah. So if you are, we keep talking about live sound and gigging and stuff like that, right? Billy, you're in a lot more veritable versions of bands and stuff doing things.
Yeah, like on stage doing a big show. Doing it,
just different bands and all that kind of stuff, right?
And
Rob is very different from you and myself, and we all play differently and gig very differently. We're probably closer in how we do things, you and I, Billy.
I just don't have the claws.
And then, Rob is, elite pro.
I bet you anything. Like if we all had to trade rigs, who could play on each other's rigs, me and Billy would be the closest. Like he would play on my rig, go, oh, I'm good, and I could go to his rig and go, oh, yeah, okay, I'm good.
You haven't even seen my rig. That's so judgmental.
No, because the way that he, like when he gravitates to a pedal, it's got to have a more
I bet you
vintagey
couldn't,
sound.
because I've seen his board. It's right over there, and I bet you wouldn't.
All right, I'll take that bet.
Okay. So, anyways, Tony.
I already led.
He already went. It's your turn.
Oh, that's right. Sorry, my bad.
Okay.
Here we go.
Were you not listening to me?
I
Well, I mean, I'm gonna cry.
I just wanted
he
to see if you
blacked out
wanted to
again.
weigh in. Okay, so my impressions for this one, this one had a lower dB. At 2 o'clock, it was unity gain. So it was really interesting to see like where unity kind of sat. So the whole like set it at 12 thing was like, whoa.
Yeah, you
this
couldn't
was
do
crazy.
that with any of the pedals. Yeah.
I felt that it was really easy to operate because there wasn't any guesswork or video game mode access. I don't love that about pedals, where you have to double tap and press this and do the other thing. It's like I get it where you can fit a lot of things on a pedal, and I appreciate that is there for the people that want and need that. I'm less inclined to do that personally. I thought that the knobs were tightly packed and are quite narrow, which is cool because you can fit them all on the pedal form. But because they were smaller, they had a much tighter turning radius. So you move it a little, and it can make a big difference, as opposed to on the Diamond, which is a bigger knob, a normal sweep. You know, these are like, you know,
That's a good. Yeah, the diameter of the pedal or
it's
the
like,
knob. I'm sorry.
It's sort of like if you have a bike with really big wheels.
Yeah.
You turn, it's going to take longer to turn. If you're on a little like scooter and you shift the thing, you're going to fall right over because it's just going to make a hard right or left immediately.
That's why Peavy used to put them big whomping 3-inch knobs on their old mixers.
Yeah.
You could really dial in just that sweet spot.
I guess so.
I mean, there's a lot of there's a lot of I think there's a lot of benefit to that. And yes, small knobs are cool, but they do force a much more I guess erratic scale of shifting.
Sweep.
Plus, you have to have little
Sweep.
delicate hands.
Yeah,
you got
little-
big
little
fat
baby
chunk,
hands.
then no go.
Yeah.
Or crab claws.
But again,
Right, no,
if you find the sound and you like it and you set it, then that's not a problem.
Yeah, but that's not your pedal if you're only looking for one sound. Come on, let's be honest
Well,
here.
why not? I mean,
Because it's got 5 knobs, a toggle,
all
2
those
foot
things,
switches.
but all those things interact with each other just like the other ones.
Yeah.
It's just they're all present. That's the biggest difference. It's the MXR is kind of doing the same thing. It's just they're hidden, and so is the Diamond. It's just it's hidden.
Right.
okay.
I also thought, let's see, the shape knob and division knobs have clock style graphics, but the potentiometers sweep, which has a lot of perceived no man's land. So there's not like a detent or anything.
Yeah, I noticed that on that too.
Yeah, so
I was
like
confused.
on the shape button. Yeah, it's got like
at
5.
first I thought it was going to morph between them, and I was like, no, it just changes at a certain point.
Yeah, and
Oh, really?
and to
Is that-
me,
Yeah.
that was the thing. Is like,
didn't like
okay,
that.
if I'm specifically if you're shifting waveform, that's weird.
Right. If you don't turn it
Yeah.
enough, and then you're like, oh, damn it.
Yeah.
Okay, now it's enough. Or,
Yeah.
And then,
And
Agreed.
and I mean, at bare minimum, if it was a rotary or a detent on the there,
Just
that would
make
be
it
really
detent.
helpful.
Yeah.
A what?
Just make it a detent.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all right. Yeah.
And then I also thought I preferred not having a 2 foot switches on a regular size enclosure, and I don't use tap anyway, so I would just assume take it off.
No
or something.
side mount jacks, no tap switch. We got it.
Right. This pedal is one of the most, I said it was one of the most purchased tremolos on retail sites. This pedal did not color my sound, and it sounded relatively neutral. Sometimes some modes felt more digital, but it held the sound very well for me. This is the V2, just so you know, even more thought has gone into this one than the V1. It was, I thought, a very musical sounding pedal, which is interesting because you felt it was sterile.
Yeah.
I did not feel it was sterile. I thought it had a lot of character to it. It has just the slightest bit of compression that I felt came through, like just straight through the signal on bypass. And it did a nice job of blending the signal in and out, still catching some of the highs so it doesn't you don't lose the volume. My overall assessment was it was a fantastic bass tremolo that can do loads of things and still remains really straightforward.
Yes, it is straightforward. It's obvious.
It's obvious.
Yeah.
I think it might not be as user friendly as the more sort of
MXR.
no, I was going to say the Diamond.
Yeah.
Just because everything is there's so much packed
Well,
on that thing.
and
I
I
would
was-
love it if this was like the same
Double size.
enclosure as the Diamond.
And I agree with, for use. I tell you what, either that in that size or smaller, anything with that many knobs, that many switches, for me, for a trem, I'd be like, I don't need that many options on my
Sure.
trem. That's just too much
Yeah.
for me.
But see, here's the thing: you're looking at it as options to be able to use. But if you look at that as elements of the instrument, you may only want to find that one sound where you're like, man, I've got this wash and I've got triplets and I've got all kinds of stuff going on, and like that's the one I want to do.
And I get that. I just don't how I use trem and I'll cover 50 different genre songs
Yeah.
in a night. I would,
Yeah, you go from like Conway Twitty to Muse.
yeah, and I don't need that many options. So
Right.
there you go.
Yeah.
See, that's just me. You
Yeah.
know, I would
Yeah.
just need the half double depth, maybe a couple
Yeah,
waves.
and to be
done
fair,
with it.
he's a far better player than all of us. So, anyways,
no better, worse, just different.
yeah, good, well done. Okay, let's move on to our last pedal. This is the Copper Sound Loma Prieta Harmonic Tremolo. This is a digital. It is true bypass. Brand new. It is 200, used about 130. By the way, we do encourage everybody to actually get a new pedal from these boutique builders, such as Walrus and Copper Sound, and even Diamond. MXR, they're doing fine. You can buy these. No. The used
That's one
market
brand
is,
we're never getting on.
yeah, the used market is great, but
down the road.
when you do buy new, you help keep these brands going.
Yeah.
And we are we're the champions of the little guys.
There you go.
So the controls here are a little. It kind of is like, oh yeah, there's a bunch of knobs. I know what these are doing. Well, when it comes to tremolo, that's usually where you're wrong almost every single time, as is the case for all of the pedals that we have in front of us. So there's foot switches on and off, and momentary, which is tap and shift. I'll get to shift in a second. The bypass momentary function also has when the pedal is in off position, you press to hold to temporarily activate an effect to add a moment of texture. Okay, releasing that turns it off. When the pedal is on, press it, hold the bypass to ramp up the tremolo rate. You release the switch and the rate will ramp down to the previously set tempo. It has top-mounted jacks. It has an expression and tap jack. The knobs are volume, rate, depth, grit. Oh, grit. That's the little bit of overdrive factor. Wave, which is sine, square, ramp down, and ramp up. Shift, which selects between one of 4 interactive modes. Tap, so you can tap in the desired tempo, obviously. Lo-fi, while in harmonic mode, momentarily cuts bass from the signal. That's cool. I like that a lot. Distortion, which is momentarily max out the grit knob for full distorted tones. This can also serve as a momentary boost if you're not doing any tremolo at all. Double, which momentary doubles the rate of the tremolo speed based on where the rate knob is set. So there's some extra cool things that the other ones aren't doing. And then toggle, which goes between harmonic and standard. So, thoughts, gentlemen. I'm going to start back with Tony.
I felt that having the distortion / grit on a tremolo pedal was not necessary.
Interesting. I have thoughts about that. I'll get to them.
I mean, overall, I let me go to my notes. So I felt that depending on what mode you're in, it was too choppy and somewhat.
What do you mean too choppy?
Too helicopter choppy. In terms of I guess that would mostly be affected by the wave.
Okay. Yeah.
And
You mean if you're not in like the square?
yeah, I mean, I think if you went into the, I don't know, let's see, this says there's 4 waveforms: sine, square, ramp up, ramp down.
Yeah.
I mean, it was almost too much effect, I guess is what I'm getting
Okay.
at. And
Can I interject here real quick, Tony?
yes.
One of my notes said that the depth, all of the taper on the depth was between 1 and 4. So it was like off, on.
Okay.
So that might be
That
some
might
of the thing
be
too.
that might be where I was
So there
trying to
wasn't-
change things, and it wasn't like a smooth sweep.
No, it was like, yeah, what you normally get from 1 to 10 was just between the 1 to 4 range, and then everything past it was like, okay, there's nothing more.
Yeah.
Sorry, interjected there.
Yeah,
I have a
that's
note on that too that I'll get to.
And at times, again, depending on where things were set, I felt it was almost a little uncontrollable. And I certainly appreciate the fact of trying to add a little add-on thing like the grit factor, distortion, whatever you want to call it. And I could see for some people it might make for a nice kind of all-in-one pedal, if you will. But again, I found that feature of it kind of unnecessary.
Okay. Billy.
The form, I think, is very good. It's big. You could almost change the stuff with your foot if you maybe put a couple different rubber pieces on the knobs or something. But anyway, and I thought the overall sound was pretty good. Like there were some good sounds you could get out of it. I kind of kept playing around with it, wanting to find something that I couldn't quite find.
Okay.
And I don't know why that is. That's just like I don't know. I guess I thought there would be a sound there that just wasn't there.
Okay.
And so I was searching and I never found it. I don't know if that speaks to the complexity of the thing or maybe it just doesn't have something. I don't know. But yeah. Maybe it's there and I just didn't find it yet.
Okay.
Regardless, it was a tremolo.
How did it sound through your amp?
It sounded okay.
Yeah?
It sounded okay. Some of it was too big, too much effect.
Okay.
I guess.
Okay.
Some of it sounded pretty good. Some of it was a little weak.
Yeah.
So that's kind of all over the place.
Okay.
Yeah.
Me?
Yes. Go, Rob.
This one to me was the most, I guess in parentheses, unique sounding.
Yeah, there you go.
That you couldn't just be like, okay, I need a tremolo effect. It drastically affected the response and the tone.
Yeah.
Like drastically. So it's almost like
It's the furthest probably away from the diamond.
Yes.
yeah. Well, and I would say that the Walrus is actually the most quote transparent, in out the same.
Yeah.
So I'm not even saying like affects it in a good way or I personally like the diamond does, how it makes it's a vintagey kind of feel to me.
Yeah.
Just the copper sound to me was as if they drastically cued a preamp in there.
Okay.
And actually even had a pretty heavy compression on it. So if you want that, golden. If you want just the tremolo effect, which is usually how I use it, I didn't like that. And I think most of the controls and the settings, likewise, all the forms, some of the waveforms were sort of close, in my opinion. The other ones were not even close. But if you're using that with the grit and you're getting some unique sound that you would never imagine would come out of a trem, it's like, okay, that's what that would do. I made same notes with Tony with the depth, where it was I had a hard time getting a more subtle or medium kind of. It was like on again. So if you want something unique and dramatic,
Yeah.
something more subtle, like if you're looking for a light trem that you would expect to see on a blackface Fender amp, not going to be the pedal. I just couldn't get something like that. Yeah, I think that's about. I'm looking at my notes. That's all my notes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so this one had a high dB. At 8 o'clock, it was Unity. I mean, it was like, it's on.
On.
Yeah, like right out of the gate. I did like the wider enclosure, the bigger box for ease of use, especially, for us with big feet. And not even if you have big feet, if you just want to be locked into music and not worrying that you're going to crush something or hit the wrong button or foot switch. The big knobs and the small knobs together, I really like that because it helped set up a little bit of hierarchy for the user experience. I did like the rotary wave knob on that. If you're gonna have options, a rotary knob or a detent
Versus
is just. I think you kind of have to do that, or don't. Maybe that's not your thing. I did not feel that this pedal colored my signal. The attack, especially with more depth, had a more noticeable audible spike in response, and in response modes felt a little bit more digital. So that's not unlike what you guys were talking about. It's like there was like a leap into it a little bit. With the grit engaged, and this is me. I play a little bit more driven than Mel, maybe even Billy. You still play relatively on the like medium overdrive. You're either doing Van Halen or Conway Twitty.
Everything from Tool to
Right. So you're in that range, and for me, what I actually, because I was like, I already played driven. I don't think I need this. But what I found, and I think that this is unique to this pedal, is that when a tremolo is working, when it cuts, it's like, it's cutting in and out of your signal. When you have a higher gain, and I think I mentioned it. This is what I found on the MXR with the higher gain and the tremolo going in and out. The grit on the Loma Prieta kind of held that distortion factor in there a little bit. It's like makeup gain when it's coming in and out, especially if you're doing a square wave, which is on a couple songs of ours. Like I'm really hitting that.
Interrupt you here. Where do you place this pedal in your signal chain? Is it in front of the amp or in an effects loop?
Oh, in front.
Okay, that will any tremolo pedal when you're in front, because you are changing how hard you hit the preamp.
Yeah.
My trem's in the effect loop.
Okay.
So it acts as like more of a studio effect where my gain doesn't change.
Yeah.
It's purely volume.
I don't like things in effects loops. It sounds removed for me. I don't know why,
It's
but
different.
it is. It
Yeah.
is.
I think if we did a blind taste test though, and I put it and didn't tell you where it was at, you wouldn't notice that. At least if the effects loop is pretty
Well,
transparent.
I don't know. I mean, that's
But
why I
anyway-
don't use them, because I
But that explains that, and you're experiencing a trem drastically different than I do.
Yeah. So with especially like a harder signal, I thought that was actually that's really clutch. I didn't feel like I was losing my drive signal, and to me that was like, that's cool. I've never experienced that on a pedal, on a tremolo pedal.
You were playing through one of your like Marshalls, or
I did it through the Marshall and the Vox. Yeah.
Okay.
And did you have something like a Morning Glory or something in front of it? EP or something?
I'm trying to remember what I had in front of that.
Because one thing I would say, putting that in front of an amp.
No, I was just using. I just put the amp. I was just using. Yeah, I was just pushing the amp because both of those have master volumes.
Right. Well, and this that adds to this. That thing definitely had a noticeable compression on it, which would kind of emulate a kind of a low setting on EP.
I think I actually have that mentioned, but anyways.
Interesting.
So I thought that was really cool, and I love the lo-fi momentary thing. I actually had a song where I was trying to figure out how can I dump out everything to kind of get almost like AM transistor radio, because it was like the spot where we all kind of ducked out, but I didn't want to go full silent. I was like, that'd be cool if I could do that, and that actually can accomplish that. The grit. Oh yeah, we talked about the grit. The shift knob is clever and delivers a lot of interesting bonus functionality without overwhelming the UI. Whether you use it or not, I thought that the way that you were able to engage that was effective. And this had lower threshold tapers on the knobs. So they jumped. Like when you turn it, it goes. My assessment of this was, this is a fantastic functional tremolo that can do loads of different things and still remains pretty straightforward. The added gain control for me makes this great for players who typically use a fair amount of gain. I don't know if that's what was intended for this pedal, but that was my own personal experience. So,
Interesting.
yeah. I mean, it was cool. We had a lot of similarities. We had a lot of different things. It was like, I don't know that I would use it that way or whatever.
We were definitely in agreement more than we were on the compression stuff.
I think so too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anyways,
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen.
So what's the faves of everybody? That's what we did last time.
Do we have?
Yeah, we did that last time. What's your favorite
Well,
one?
it is again.
Oh,
this
your
is not
favorite.
No, it's
which is the
personal.
best
Favorite,
pedal.
yeah.
This is personal.
It's, yeah.
For you, Billy, what are you taking to the stage?
I would take the diamond. I would just move the switch. I would move that flapper switch.
Move it.
Yeah, I'd move it. I'd drill a new hole and put a couple wires and just move it.
Okay. That's a lot. That's
Like to the side or to the front.
Are you
or
afraid
the
that you're
middle.
gonna kick it or something?
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Let's see, Tanya.
Me too for the diamond. Out of the bunch, this one had the most amp-like tremolo, like on a Fender to me. I mean, my favorite trem pedal is the Super Trem with the two big knobs, and that is the sound out of a tube amplifier.
Yeah.
This one
Without the functionality, though.
without the functionality. Yeah. I mean, it's a one-trick pony. But this
But
one,
you're so much more than that, Tony.
I'm a two-trick pony.
It's got 2 switches on that one too. So,
Yeah,
you know.
exactly. But yeah, I mean, out of the bunch, I mean, I think to my ear and to the functionality of it, the diamond worked best for what I would want it to do. The others, again, some of them are unique, and even the MXR was you could get some decent versions of tremolo out of it, but to my ear and my playing, the diamond was the one.
Rob?
Diamond. Yeah, diamond. And I mean, follow up would be the walrus if you put a gun to my head, like, okay, no more diamonds. What's the next thing we're gonna do?
Okay.
So,
All right.
Todd,
I hate
are you gonna
doing
be the
this part.
oddball, or what
This
are you
is the
gonna
part
do?
that I don't like because I actually found I will say that I found the MXR I probably wouldn't have that on my board.
Okay, so you knocked one out. Now you got to pick one. From
I
the
knocked
other
one
three.
out. Well, here's the thing.
You're just your personal. We're not going to say you can't pick another one tomorrow.
No, if I had to put one on my board and go right now, it would be the diamond, I believe.
Wow, I thought you
Yeah.
were going to go with the walrus.
Well, no, see, that's the thing. I like the Walrus because it actually it had inspiring sounds to me. I think that the Diamond is not particularly inspirational in any shape, way, or form. It just does the thing that you expect it to do.
Yeah,
And
I think that's true.
and I don't want to have to step on a knob that's like halfway up on the pedal. They're in the far corner, so I'm not going to hit anything.
Yeah.
I like the fact that I can easily look down and say, bang, sine
Yeah.
wave, bang, square knob, bang. I just switch a couple things. I can put a couple dots or some nail polish on there, and I know where my settings are. To me, that was helpful, and I really appreciate the threshold of that sweep.
Yeah.
And I think the other ones all kind of felt the same together.
Yeah.
In that is like
I think
micro
yeah.
turns.
I think the walrus, would be cool if maybe you were writing a song. You're Marty Stewart and you want to write a song about the desert or some specific thing, and then you could dial it up on that walrus real nice.
Yeah, if you're
And sitting there as you're writing a song and monkeying with it a
Yeah.
little bit.
Yeah.
It feels like a good monkeying
right
pedal.
Well, and honestly, we talked about the no rotary or detent on that, and maybe that's part of the thing. Like if there's a lot of people who aren't gigging, but they're recording stuff at home. They've got a great console set up, and they're just like, hey, I'm just making music at home. And to be able to do that with an uninterrupted sweep on some of those knobs actually might be really cool. I didn't really think of that before.
Yeah, well, and when you were talking about your thoughts on the walrus, half an hour ago,
Yeah.
something you mentioned was the form factor. So I'm imagining as you're talking about this, if the form factor was different, whereas the larger box, lengthwise orientation, bigger knobs.
I thought
yada,
that
yada.
one felt musical to me. Like
Right,
honestly,
right.
I did feel like I was like, I felt myself wanting to play that.
Yeah, and that's
a
my
little
point is
bit more.
that if the form factor was different, like
Yeah.
you described the diamond
Yeah.
with the switches in the corners
Yeah.
and the bigger knobs, and it's like, that
yeah,
might.
if I'm using any of these on stage, it's the diamond for sure.
yeah.
I really like those two special features of the copper sound, which were totally unique. and I would absolutely use those. The truer, I had a hard time with the ramp up of some of the volume and some of the effect.
Yeah,
and I think we all kind of felt that.
That might be a pedal, like you see an artist that has original songs. They have a pedal, and what do you use that on? You use this on this one spot on this one song for this one sound.
Right.
That might be more of.
Well, and I have pedals like that.
Yeah.
So, anyways, that was super duper fun. Like I really really enjoyed the experience with myself doing this, but more so, I love hearing what you guys have to say about it. And I love that we're still not. It's about what do these things have to offer. It's each one of these things has something to offer to you, everyone out there. So, and I want to say a huge thanks to specifically Walrus and Copper Sound. When I reached out to them, they said, absolutely, we want you to check out our pedals. So
Nice.
we were grateful for that. And that says a lot about their company too.
Yeah. What I think about was cool about this whole thing is that each one of those pedals is very different.
Yeah.
Yes, totally.
They all say tremolo, and they all
say
have
tremolo.
the same. It's like,
It's kind of like that
Right.
discussion of somebody said, well, the vibrato on a Fender amp really should say tremolo, or vice versa. You get all this stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know. We're just trying to sound like goats, right? So
yeah,
Like Stevie Nicks.
yeah. Okay. Anyways, all right. So we'll have to decide which the next one is. I'm curious. We don't have to do that right now, but that'll be the next topic of conversation. We'll probably hit that one in another month and a half or
Next
so.
quarter.
We need some. We can't do these all the time. But the cool thing is we're gonna do a lot of them.
I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. Tony, we need to head over to Would You Rather Land.
Oh, is it that time?
It's that time.
At this point of the show is a little game that we like to play called Would You Rather?
Final episode for 2024.
Yes.
Would You Rather 2024? 2024.
Would you
Okay,
rather?
go ahead.
Would you rather 2024 or rather 2025? I don't know.
Tony, oh
Yes.
my God.
Yes, Todd.
Do the thing.
You might recall we have an ongoing program called the Beyond the Grave series, put to us by our good friend Bruce Bacon.
Yes. Bruce Bacon.
And just to refresh your memories, Todd was helping Tony, me, move some guitars when the most haunted of axes, a BC witch,
BC Witch.
released a wedge-old warlock accidentally fell on his head and knocked him out.
Yes.
When Todd awoken, he felt a little different. Now he has the power to summon the dead through incantation.
Why did you give him that extra, Billy?
Episode 4. I don't know. In this episode of Beyond the Grave, you have the opportunity to talk to an amp designer for 1 hour. You can only talk to him about the design of the amp. You can't talk about guitars. You can't talk about anything else. Just amp design. Would you rather talk to Nat Daniel from Dan Electro, Silvertone fame, or Dick Denny of Vox Amplification?
Okay. Well, Billy.
I'd have to say Dan Electro.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Why?
Why do you hate Voxes?
I don't hate Vox. It's just
Why do you love Dan Electro?
I don't.
He just had to pick one, and he said, "Let's go with the D one." Good enough.
Okay.
All right. Fair enough.
Would I rather? I don't know. Wait, I changed my mind.
Okay.
Wait, we can't talk about guitars? Oh,
No, we can
no.
only
The
talk
amp
about
designer.
amp design.
So you got to sit down and talk
Boy.
to somebody about amp design for an hour.
Yeah, I've never played on a Dan Electro amp. So
Really?
I would think that.
What?
No, I haven't. So maybe that's my new
They're not that
learning
common,
experience for 2025.
Come to think of it, maybe I see a Dan Electro amp.
Well,
a year, maybe.
it's Dan Electro / Silvertone. So
Well, the Silvertones were branded for Sears.
well, sure, but more people are probably
Okay.
familiar with
Yeah,
the
you're gonna
Silvertone
have
than a
maybe
Dan
more
Electro
Silvertones
amp.
than Dan amp.
Yeah, but even at that, so those are really old, and you don't have that many of those either.
What's it?
Either way, you're talking about really old stuff here.
1484. Is that the
twin?
Yeah,
Yeah.
twin 12 one. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the
No,
one.
that's when
most people
Columbus
use.
came over here, 1492.
No, that's different.
I don't think so. I think you're off by
What's
a
Columbus
few
doing in
centuries.
1412.
Thanks for playing.
You've been disqualified.
Okay.
Rob, who would you like to talk to? You're an amp guy, right?
The Vox guy, I guess, but I mean,
Dick Denny?
yeah. He at least it was more. How do I want to put this? I don't want to say unique, but more not just copying circuits out of the tube manuals, the RCA manuals and stuff, and then going, oh,
Yeah.
this is an amp. It was more unique.
Yes.
So there you go.
All right.
You want me
Tony,
to
go ahead.
I too would like to talk to Dick Denny. One, I love Vox amplifiers, and I think that things that he designed, it would be interesting to talk to him to see why he did things or how he got the voice, or did he even think that was going to voice out
Right.
like, or was it just kind of a happy accident?
Whoops. Yeah.
I mean, the one thing about the Dan Electro Silvertones is they're really not well put together. I mean, they're
Garbage.
Yeah, but they were inexpensive. The amp for the masses.
They look
And
really cool, though.
Some of them do. Yeah.
You ever felt one of the cabinets?
No, they're wafer thin.
It is.
Yeah, wafer
It's the
thin
same
mint.
the same material they were making those hard shell cases from. That you
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's
It's just press board.
bound with more glue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but they both,
But they
Danos.
still look cool.
Danos and Silvertones definitely have a unique sound to them. So, but all things considered, yeah, I'll take Dick Denny.
Okay. I am too.
Okay.
And that's part of, I think, because now I'm on the Vox side of the fence right now.
You didn't like my Vox.
To be
You
fair,
didn't either, Tony.
no, we didn't.
You dissed that thing.
It needed
sounded-
retubed.
It's. But
Man.
but to be fair, we also
You didn't play
we
it very
jump-
loud. I know
Well,
what
we
it was.
didn't-
You
we
didn't
didn't
play it
jump
very
it,
loud.
We didn't jump it either. So,
Yeah, you got to play that thing loud, man.
yeah,
Yeah, then it's like, oh, okay,
I guess so.
yeah.
Or you can't hear why it sounds janky. I mean, no. I mean, if it's at lower volume, it's like you
Yeah,
can hear
right.
everything.
Right.
Regardless, I'm sure it's a very nice amp.
I think you just crapped on your Vox.
I didn't crap on the Vox. You.
No, I think
sound
that
like
was you, Todd.
No. Anyways, I
Mine was a Dallas Arbiter
How's he back out?
I believe it.
design with the big,
The-
heavy speakers.
There's like 6 inputs on that thing.
The real thing, though, because that amp should sound fantastic, is how accurate it is. What's been changed in it? If it's right or if
Yeah, you got to let Rob into that thing.
okay.
Or-
yeah,
or
I
even-
knew it would work to that. Yeah, I
or,
did
or
bring
you
it to
just
you.
pull the
Yeah.
chassis out, and if you're like, that looks real shiny compared to everything else in here, then you at least know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyways, I'm sure it's great. So, anyways, I will. Yeah, I think it'd be really cool because aside from like, hey, tell me about this circuit, it's like I would love to hear like the origin, sort of like how the things got going, and because we know a bit about that. I think we know a fair amount about that, but the inside stories that it must have had, of early young musicians that weren't known to the world yet, that such then became known, and how things were developed. I think that'd be really amazing. Okay, well, thank
Except
you.
you can only talk about amp design.
Well, that's what I would be talking about. Thank you, Bruce Bacon, for sending that one in. That was super fun. Tony, we need to thank a few people.
Yes, we do. At this point of the show, there's a special group of people we love to thank. These are our executive producers. Now, an executive producer helps make this show possible. How do you become one? Head over to patreon.com/The Guitar Knobs. Check out a couple different levels in which you can participate, become a friend, a sponsor, a hero of the podcast. Each level comes with some very nice thank you gifts and opportunities to win great giveaway prizes. But in addition to all that great stuff, there is one thing more. What would that be?
You get to have your name right on the thing.
Thank you, Dudley Do-Right. And for those of you who don't know who Dudley Do-Right is, look it up on YouTube. You'll find it. That's right. You get your ever name right on the thing. That's what I'm going to do right now. So special thanks to these executive producers. John Sebastian, Trevor Allenberg, Cameron Pampas, James Bell, Brett Hogarth, Don Kloss, Ralph Gottschalk from Wonderful Audio Technology. What? Rusty Sneeden, Vader and Pedals, John Halverson, Rick Calhoun, Trevor Gunberg, Alon Mizrahi, Richard Kendall, James White, Justin Jones, John Esterle from Rare Effects, Anthony Lathrop, Stefan Lamb, Michael Senchuk, Ken Sayers, Darren Gregory, Tom Brazen, Eric Merrow, Plutone, and Michael Davenport.
Ooh.
Oh, but there's more, Todd.
Yes.
Because there's a special group of executive producers. We call them our Grand Poobahs.
Indeed.
These are the creme de la creme, the top of the heap, the A number ones, and they wear a fez upon their head whilst listening, not recording the podcast, as we found out from Hex Matos. He was not wearing his fez last time.
No.
So special thanks to these Grand Poobahs. Anthony Gemolero, Billy Spitfire Unlimited, Bob Crouch, Brian Robison, Cody Foster, David Kaminga, David Tyndall, Enrico Fernando, Fox Hill Studio, Hex Matos, James Pennington, John Williams, LSJ Music Company, Matt Hart, Michael Van Zant, Michio Murakishi, Moon Guitars, Paul Von Eppinger, Sam Jett, Steve Keys, Tyler K.C. Rhines, Zach Oswald from Brandon. Wow. Big ups. Pedro Vasquez, Gregory Randall, and Mike Nazionale.
Yes, y'all. I also want to mention we're going to have Moon Guitars on in the next coming week.
Oh,
He's got
cool.
some really big news. So he's a
excellent.
great guy. And we can't wait to talk to him again. Thank you all so much for supporting our show through the years. And we are really looking forward to a fantastic 2025. Thank you all for getting us to 400. We really could not do this without you.
Nope.
Billy, where can people find what the things you do?
Billy Spitfire Unlimited. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and you know where to find me.
Yeah, okay. Rob, how about
I
yourself?
like that. Rob Chafe, Mad Cownification on Instagram.
Is your Instagram working yet?
I have access to it. It wasn't as hard as I thought it was. I thought it was going to be this whole thing. It was actually pretty
I
simple.
think they call that a rigmarole on the streets.
Yeah. So I have access. I actually just have to type in my new password in my phone.
Wow.
So I guess
that?
that's
Which one?
I should do that sometime.
What's the
big
password?
one. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But I saved it on my computer.
You should always use I don't remember $sign.
Yeah. Well, they require 3 special characters, a Chinese character, 4 numbers,
course.
in
Yeah.
non-sequential order. You know.
Yeah. Well,
So-
that's
anyway, but that's on my list.
welcome to 2024.
I'm going to take some
/25.
downtime during the holidays, and I'm
Good.
getting back on.
You need to get back on it because it's a great one. Tony, where can people get a hold of you?
Head over to pickguardian.com. Check out the things I do. What do? I make pick guards for guitars. How do you get one? Head over to shoot me an email. There's a link there on that website. I Tell ya?
Yeah.
What's your website?
It's pickguardian.com.
Yes, and Pick Guardian 1 on Instagram.
And pickguardian1
With the
on
number
Instagram
1,
because
yes.
somebody else stole it.
Yeah.
Kidding me.
Yeah.
It might be available now. You keep checking on that.
I will keep checking on
Also, you
Hey!
know, there's going to be a lot of guitars getting made
that. Are there?
and getting presented. Santa's going to be bringing a lot of guitars to people.
Oh.
If you are lucky enough to have Santa bring you a guitar,
Yes. It's your opportunity to make your guitar even more yours.
there you go. There you go. That's the money. You can shoot me a DM on Instagram at Guitar Knobs. We would love to hear from you. Tell us what you get for Christmas and all that good stuff. We welcome any and all communication.
Yeah, that's what that kid's
Well,
called
we
it.
commune with the communication, so I'll take that. And yeah, that's. Go and make sure you check out the YouTube video that we got up, the Vox speaker shootout,
Oh, yes.
coming off the heels of our recent episode.
Yes.
Would really appreciate that. Share it with a friend. Share it with your mom. Share it with your little brother. Do whatever you need to do. Ladies and gentlemen, we thank you for a very wonderful 2024. We thank you for helping us get to 400 episodes, and we're looking to 400 more. Well, maybe not everybody is, but
Can we
Let's
say
get-
50 more?
That sounds
No,
all.
come
Yeah,
on.
let's just commit to maybe a dozen, and then we'll see how it goes.
all right. Hey, everybody, have a fantastic week. Subscribe!
La 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 la
New Year.
la la.
That's creepy, dude.
New Year.
All right, you bozos, we're done.
All right.
Hop on the bus, Gus.
No, that sounds better.
Hop on the bus?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, for the type of song it is. Yeah.
Step off the bus, Gus.
No.
Don't need
Yeah,
to, don't need to discuss much.
You're exclusive. It's trying to be inclusive. That's
Drop off the key, Lee.
yourself free. You can be.
I'll be
Johnny. You be Johnny.
No, you're Johnny.
You want me to be Johnny?
You're Johnny.
Thanks.
Do I have to do
the
everything around here?
clarification.
Probably, yes.
Yeah.
Copy. Yes.
not a volume thing. It's not a attenuator, you jackass.
Run
Did
it
you
at-
listen to our podcast?
Run it at 60 watts.
Rob, I don't like the tone you're taking.
Got to get that. All right. Who put that seal on there?
Oh, man, you know that was coming.
Johnny, there's some Messerschmitts coming at 12 o'clock high. Johnny, dig. Give him the whole 9 yards, Johnny.
It's the length of a machine gun belt. Yeah.
Wow, nice.
How about that?
Yeah.
nine yards.
Cool, huh? Tony, you got to take some of your bullcrap home, man. It's piling up here.
I've got this and this.
That.
Well, I brought this today.
That.
And
Where
then,
does this go?
That's
no, because we're going to the moon. We're going to bring back all
A railway on the moon.
stuff
Do you
from
guys
the
hear
moon.
that?
What's that?
What?
They're putting a railway on the damn moon.
9 yards of ammunition per machine gun. That's give him the whole 9 yards, Johnny.
How about that?
Send him to hell, Johnny.
Educational too, huh?
Yeah, it's a lot easier to say than 27 feet.
Yeah, that's not the same thing.
Give him
at
the
all.
whole 27 feet, Johnny. No.
Okay, who would be the best spy in here?
Billy.
Billy.
Nobody would nobody would ever guess him. You could put him in any situation like this guy's not a spy. Come
Oh,
on.
that's true. That's fair.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
fair. Well, I'm just saying if
you
he
pee your pants the first time they dropped you off somewhere.
What?
Yes, you would have a big stain on the front.
That is ridiculous.
No, 100%. 100%.
Rob.
That kind of pressure? No way.
A wealthy man, I wouldn't have to work hard.
This is why we need video.
Well, the moon's only about
No,
as big as Texas. I mean,
I say, old boy, it's not
Makes-
looking too swell up here. In fact, it's rather grim. I say, send that old Jerry to hell, would you, boy? Give him the whole 8.27 meters. Not the same thing.
Dry Viskin.
Yeah. Okay.
Geben mir drei Whisky.
It's tough to be a spy.
You gotta know all
I
the
bet
stuff.
it is. I have a video of Tony
No,
doing
we
this.
can never
Whatever
do
the
video.
hell that
that's,
is.
That's
Oh, I think we should. I think that would just make it so much better.
Show quiet days.
Live on your YouTube, your subscription rate would go through the roof.
Through the roof. It's gold, Jerry. It's gold.
I'm telling you, it is
I don't
gold.
have time for that.
Is that one of those things?
Man, you're loud. Jiminy Christmas.
I backed off the mic too, so let that be a lesson to you.
Except
Except if they put a bowl of candy in front of them.
What do you guys want to know?
What do you do? I'm a diplomat.
His grandfather was one of them.
Keep the Hershey Kisses coming.
Yeah.
I'll tell you whatever you want to know about America.
Ah,
Jeez.
that's how the pros do
Or
it.
that's how the pros do it, Todd. So
Guess
Yeah.
so.
I can hurt you.
That's not even in my ears. That's literally just coming across.
He's very sensitive today.
yeah, he is
Yeah,
very
right?
I'm
My
sorry,
ears
Billy.
are kind of.
terrible spy.
Is Krampus
That's a
coming?
pretty good one.
So is the F1. Tony,
Nuts
stop.
roasting
Tony,
Santa.
Tony. Yeah, now.
He's gonna be.
I'm a professional.
Well, that's it for these knobs. Please visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/theguitarknobs. Visit our website at theguitarknobs.com for all of our past episodes, 4 on the Floor blog, and other good stuff. You can connect with us on social too at our Facebook page and share your gear and stories on our Facebook group. Also, be sure to check out our Instagram at Guitar Knobs. Catch you next time.